It's been 20 years since my autism diagnosis, so here are 10 things I've learned. 1. The spectrum is far bigger and wider than doctors and scientists long believed. Nowadays, pretty much everyone knows at least someone who is somewhere on a spectrum, or at least knows someone who is. 2. Girls and women, many of them, are also somewhere on a spectrum. Only for many years, autism in girls and women was completely underdiagnosed, perhaps partly because many girls are able to mask their symptoms better than boys. 3. Autism nowadays is understood as being part of what we call the neurodivergent experience or neurodiversity. It's less about looking at autism as something to do with deficits and disability, and much more about different strengths, abilities, gifts, even talents. It means that autism can be understood as part of the human condition, another way of being human, one among others. 4. Autism tends to run in families. Not long after my own diagnosis, one of my brothers was also diagnosed, and more recently, one of my young nephews. 5. Autism symptoms tend to lessen as we get older. That's something I wish I'd been able to tell my younger self. It gets easier. Not always, and not for everyone, but for many people, the social world is something that we can better navigate with time and practice, and enough support and love, of course, of our families and friends. It means that in the best case scenario, we're even able to channel our passions into careers. 6. Empathy is something we talk a lot about in autism research, but it goes both ways. It's important for neurotypical people to listen to autistic voices to better understand how different wired minds work and what can be done in terms of adjustments to make society more embracing of all kinds of differences so that everyone can play their full part. 7. Research around autism has been making incredible strides in our understanding of the condition, and partly that's because more and more researchers are themselves on the spectrum, and they're able to bring not only their incredible skills and talents but also lived experience of autism, which is something that science sorely needed. 8. Cliches around the condition, unfortunately, are persistent. They're incredibly stubborn. It seems every other day somebody still talks to me about Rain Man as though it came out yesterday. And it's frustrating because we know how much creativity and imagination, empathy is out there on the spectrum, despite what all the cliches say. 9, and this is the way to push back against such cliches, telling stories. The real life stories of people on the spectrum are incredible, and as an autistic writer, my latest book, 9 Minds, is all about doing that, exploring real life stories, 9 incredible neurodivergent men and women from around the world, how they used their gifts and talents and overcame obstacles to make their way in the world, from an autistic murder detective and pioneering surgeon to a best-selling novelist and even a Hollywood superstar. 10. The future can belong to neurodivergent men and women. It's not a done deal that the future is something that has to be a place of fear and stress. It can be incredibly welcoming for all kinds of differences, including for people on the spectrum.